Good morning, everyone. This is Father Nate, missionary priest in Italy, and thanks for joining us today, April 4th, on No Greater Delight, our podcast on Marian feasts and Marian meditations. Well, today we celebrate a number of feasts, as is typical in the Marian world. So, first off, we'll get started with Our Lady of Grace, Notre Dame de Grâce, in Normandy, France. We note that there's no mention of any date here, but Our Lady of Grace is one of the most ancient maritime chapels of Normandy. This particular sanctuary was built as a consequence of a vow made by a Norman duke who was very devout to the Blessed Virgin. That duke, Robert the Magnificent, was once caught in a terrible storm off the coast of Normandy and knew that a shipwreck would surely cost him his life. So in the midst of that tempest, even as it overwhelmed him, he made the promise that if he could somehow survive, he would build a shrine on the hill he could still see through the rain. Well, indeed, Robert was saved, and so his harrowing experience ended not in tragedy, but rather with him keeping his promise. It gave birth to a monument that now millions of pilgrims visit each year. The original chapel he constructed was finished early in the 11th century at a height of 90 meters above sea level. That chapel stood through the centuries until it was swept away by a landslide in the 16th century, and the present chapel, the chapel of Notre Dame de Grâce, Our Lady of Grace, replaces that original shrine, right? It's a very beautiful chapel, flanked with large trees. It's generally got a whole bunch of flowers around it, and it's very calm and beautiful, right? And so this, I guess we could call it familiar image of Our Lady of Grace, depicts Mary with her hands open, like spread out towards her devotees, and from those hands flow rays of light, symbolizing that she's always ready and able to shower upon us, her children, all the graces and blessings that we desire. Now, we're told in the 19th chapter of the Revelations of St. Gertrude that Mary, Our Lady of Grace, said that the inestimable treasures of her loving compassion would be given to those who saluted her with the prayer known as the Golden Ave Maria, right? And as she also promised, she said, "And at the hour of their departure, I will appear to them clothed with radiant beauty, and I will pour into their souls heavenly sweetness and consolation." This is that prayer of the Golden Ave Maria. It goes, "Hail Mary, lily of spotless whiteness, thou dost ravish the gaze of the adorable Trinity, dwelling in the eternal sojourn of light and peace. Hail, rose of celestial sweetness, Virgin Immaculate, whom the King of heaven and earth chose for his mother, and whom thou didst nourish with thy virginal milk. Pour into my soul torrents of divine graces. Amen." Now, continuing on, we actually go to Washington, D.C., where they celebrate Our Lady of Ephesus. Because on this day, that is April 4th, 2003, Giuseppe Bernardini, who at the time was the Archbishop of Izmir, Turkey, and the Archbishop of Washington, dedicated an oratory to Our Lady of Ephesus in the Basilica of the National Shrine of the Immaculate Conception, right? Turkey had recently refused to participate in the American invasion of Iraq. And so Bernardini prayed, "May Our Lady of Ephesus bring peace to the world," right? Now, in the rear of the crypt church, there's actually a mosaic of Our Lady of Ephesus, based on a vision that a Vermont resident, Elizabeth Moore Fraser, had during her 1959 pilgrimage to Ephesus, Turkey, right? Where many believe that Mary spent her last days, right? Praying at Mary's house for her disabled nephews, Fraser heard Mary say, "The reward for suffering is so great that even if you were told, you wouldn't know." That's a very beautiful story. Then we jump over to Italy, where they celebrate Madonna degli Angeli in Sternazia, Lecce, Apulia in Italy, right? So this was built by Franciscan friars in the 1500s, and they named it, if you know, there's one in Assisi, where St. Francis of Assisi founded their order. So the Franciscan friars, when they went to Sternazia and Lecce, Italy, they founded a church with that same name, right? So behind the stone statue of the Madonna of the Angels on the main altar is an old faded fresco of the Virgin, which tradition says is miraculous. And so on the Thursday after Easter, Sternazia celebrates its Pasquetta, its Little Easter, in her honor. So there is an early Mass in the parish church. A procession goes to Our Lady's Chapel, where there's another Mass. And in the afternoon, there's a lot of festivities, right? Food, games. And it says here, the traditional tall greased pole topped with treats. That doesn't sound safe. Don't try that at home, a tall greased pole. But in any event, that's a nice way to celebrate Our Lady. There's also other towns that celebrate a Thursday Pasquetta of Our Lady in Apulia. These include Madonna del Pozzo Faceto in Brindisi, Apulia. That's Our Lady of the Strange Well. Madonna della Arcona, which is in Lecce as well. Madonna del Itri, Nociglia. Madonna della Stella in San Cesario de Lecce, Apulia. Right? And last but not least, we recall the solemn coronization of the beautiful image of Our Lady. Here it says, Vergine Ausiliatrice del Popolo Modenense. So it's the image of the Virgin Auxiliatrix, like the helper, of the people of Modena, which took place on April 4th, 1637, right? So this particular image is a copy of a fresco of Mary in life. They say so it was taken when she was still alive, right? Venerated in Bologna in her shrine that's off of the central plaza, right? Even today, the people of Modena have a living and singular devotion to this, their heavenly patroness. So that is what we are celebrating in the Marian world today on April 4th. For today's reading from The Imitation of Mary by Alexander de Rouville, we continue with Book 4 regarding our sentiments, our feelings towards Mary. And today we'll consider Chapter 10, Confidence in Mary. And it starts with Mary addressing the believer, and then they'll go back and forth some. Mary, my child, you do not have perfect confidence in me. At times you are slow to call on me when you are in need, and at all times you seem unsure of my goodwill toward you. I want you to have all the confidence in me that any son should have in his mother, knowing as he does her tender love and her goodness. Come to me always and everywhere, in all your spiritual and temporal needs, in difficulties of soul and body, in the difficulties of your relatives and friends. Is it a sign of any great confidence in me if you turn to me only from time to time, on my feast days, for example, as some Christians do? You should imitate the Church, which asks nothing of God without appealing to my intercession. The Church has recourse to me as dispenser of the Lord's graces. Let her conduct be the norm for yours, and like her, have unfailing confidence in me, a confidence that is all-embracing, ardent, sweet, and affectionate. Turn to God through Jesus, but turn to Jesus through his mother. I am the surest way of reaching Jesus, of finding him, and of receiving a warm welcome from him. The believer. Queen of Heaven, I acknowledge your power and goodness, but I fear that I am unworthy of you. Can a virgin so pure, so zealous for God's honor, and so perfect, turn to me in compassion? Mary, my child, am I not the refuge of sinners? I intercede for all those who want to turn back to God's service and who call upon me with confidence. Moved by my concern for their reconciliation, God has never said no to my prayer. For many sinners, I am the only means left them, and the only means God gives them of regaining his friendship. I have won pardon for sin, even enormous sins, for so many Christians. They asked my protection against God's justice, and I protected them until I won their reconciliation with their judge. Some sinners live stubbornly on in their sins, while deluding themselves that I will win for them the grace of not dying in their sins. That is presumptuous confidence, and an insult to me. Others, however, groan beneath the weight of their sins and want to cast it off. They are aware of their weakness and put their trust and hope in me, praying that through my intercession I may win this grace of strength and forgiveness for them. Come, draw near. I will not reject you, but welcome you with love. The believer. Mother of my Lord, the moment your greeting sounded in my ears, that's Luke 1:44-43, all my disquiet vanished, and my confidence in you returned stronger than ever. To me you are like the dove that returned after the flood carrying an olive branch, the symbol of peace. Accept under your saving protection this sinner who is ashamed, deeply moved, and sorry for all the sins of his lifetime, sins that he would like to expiate with his blood. Obtain for me the grace to weep bitterly for the sins I have committed, and to die rather than commit once again sins I so much detest. Through the holy child of your womb, you won peace between God and men. Win peace for me as well, between me and my conscience, between me and my God. Virgin, powerful and so full of kindness, how grateful I should be for all the blessings I receive from God through your intercession. Let all hearts be forever dedicated to you. Let all mouths voice the praises which heaven speaks to earth. May Mary be loved and glorified. And which earth goes back to heaven. May Mary be glorified and loved through all ages.
Thank you for listening, and we hope you enjoyed our Marian podcast. As St. John Paul II teaches us, from Mary we learn to love Christ, her Son, the Son of God. Through her intercession, may we grow ever closer to Him. We encourage you to share this with a loved one or friend and help spread our devotion to Mary. Thank you, and God bless.